Good morning. Welcome again to the Mastering Construction Podcast. Nice to have you along. A little bit of backup information. As you can see, we've got some equipment doing some grading on the site. In the past, not too distant, not long ago, we hit some groundwater. And as we've talked about before, we've got dewatering process going on. Well, during that dewatering process, we've been pretty successful, very successful at getting the soil to dry out. We're ready to proceed, but when you hit groundwater, you have to sometimes back up, design or redesign actually your slab. Do you need waterproofing? Do you need to upgrade your pump systems? Do you need to have some kind of filtration system? So all those things are being covered, and we're almost certain that we're ready to go. But we're going to take the first step here, and we're going to go with the recommendation as we're going to remove 4 inches of the pad, the soil here. Why is because we're going to have a 10-inch thick slab with what used to be 2 inches of sand. We're going to change that into 6 inches of rock, gravel, and that'll act as kind of a capillary or a way for the water to move back and forth into the pump sections and then be ejected into either the sewer or storm drain. So that's the change that we've come up with. We haven't, but the consultants and designers have come up with. It seems like it's going to work pretty well. So today, where we're at is the surveyor, civil, recalculated what the elevation of the bottom pad would be, and it came out and started yesterday. And as you can see, the lath right there, that lath is basically put at every other column, inside the building, and that has directions so that the person operating the equipment, the grader, can look at that and tell how much he needs to remove or place back of material to achieve the grade, the finished pad grade, or the grade of the dirt, soil, and then we start from there with the rock and then concrete. Interesting story of what just took place. It's really important to make sure that you communicate well and often with every one of your subcontractors. And when you're dealing with survey and it's dictating to you the height and the dimensions and the locations of any part of the building, you usually have 1, maybe 2 chances to get that right. And that's what happened today. We averted a pretty large disaster. Here's what took place. Yesterday, well actually about 4 days ago, I talked to the grader and asked him to give me some feedback on what survey he would like, what points, what columns, so he could come out here and cut this 4 inches of material. He gave me a list. I relayed that list via email and fax to the surveyor and the civil engineer. They calculated their points. Surveyor came out yesterday, and he and I had a little meeting. We discussed what was going on. I looked at what his thoughts were on it, what points, how much we were going to cut. I thought it was all sealed and done. Came out this morning earlier, and the grader showed up and kind of had a little powwow over by his transom there. And that transom, you can see the little tripod, that's the transom for surveying. And as we're looking at the numbers, the graders asked him a question, like, why did you write down that number? That's 4 inches lower than what I thought it would be. Here's what happened. In the surveyor's mind, he was lowering the entire building 4 inches. But that's not what we were doing. We were taking out an additional 4 inches of soil, and the finished floor, the finished concrete floor that the cars are going to drive around on, is staying the same. But again, in his mind, that finished concrete floor was going to drop 4 inches. That's wrong. So right there, basically all these lath, the survey that's done with the numbers on it, what reflection in those numbers is, it shows that slab dropping 4 inches rather than removing 4 inches of dirt and the slab being the same elevation. Could have been a huge mistake. Could have been something that we would be bringing fill dirt back in to fix it, but we would have cut another 8 inches because we would have cut 4 inches twice. Anyway, that emphasizes the need to have communication on a regular basis, whether you're the superintendent or the homeowner. Don't be embarrassed, especially first thing in the morning when the guys are having their coffee and they're rolling out, and just go over and talk to them. How are they doing? So what's the plan today? Can you show me what you're going to do? And that's how you're going to find maybe a little bit of discrepancies or communication errors. That's one of the reasons I back up everything with an email or fax, and I keep it in my file, because sometimes when these mistakes happen down the road, they're going to say, no, you told me. Well, I make mistakes, we all make mistakes, we say the wrong thing, or we think somebody understands, just like what happened yesterday. But I had it in writing that I told him exactly how we were going to proceed. So at this point, he's maybe a little irritated that he thinks he misunderstood, but he's going to go back and fix the elevations before we make the major mistake. And it's a good catch on the grader's part as well, as noticing that was a wrong number. So again, be active in walking around your job site, talking with the subcontractors, talking with your consultants and your surveyor. Ask the questions, because if you wait till it's done and it's wrong, you're going to look like the one that didn't do the correct job. Or if you're the owner of the property and now you've got a house or a foundation that's out of whack, or 4 inches higher, 6 inches higher, you've got a problem. And it doesn't matter if it's concrete, wood framing, anything. Make sure you coordinate well and coordinate often, especially at these beginning stages, and things will go very smooth, relatively smooth. In construction, the smooth isn't always the easiest thing to achieve, but they'll go smoother. And you don't have to yell and scream at these people about the mistake that was made. Our surveyor there, very nice guy, very nice gentleman, and he's just, because treat him with dignity, they'll do a lot for you. Well, that's our project as of today, and we're actually making some progress. We've had a little bit of downtime waiting for the redesign because of the groundwater, but feeling kind of good today. I've got a job again. It's actually looking like a job. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Mastering Construction, dealing with grading and surveying, kind of an overview, kind of help you see the process. We'll get a little bit more detailed on other video casts and podcasts as far as how to read the survey, the sheets, as well as the lath, what they mean, how to help the grader to be accurate in his reading of it, so you make sure that you alleviate some of those mistakes. So for now, this is Chad Ryan for Mastering Construction podcast and videocast, and hope you enjoy these, and we have many more to come.